at the Cox Arena.
What? That's weird.
COX. Cox.
I'm not getting what the problem was.
Oh, you don't get the joke. This Cox. You don't get it?
No. Am I missing something?
It's just funny because it's COX instead
Oh,
of COC.
spelled wrong.
It's spelt wrong.
Oh, okay, I get it. That's the joke.
The attendance was 10,000.
Actually, it was one, but it was in Bryan Clark's fucking mouth. Anyway, go ahead.
10,095 was the attendance.
What, the sperm in Bryan Clark's mouth?
We promised we'd be nice for a week, and the week is
no,
over.
I'm not on this show.
Only on Twitter we promised, and he's not here, so fuck him. The capacity is 12,414.
The capacity was one viral load of splooge in Bryan Clark's mouth.
The capacity is however much Bryan Clark can hold in his mouth. Holy shit, he's here! He's here! He's here!
No, he's not.
Holy shit! Yes. Bryan Clark is here!
Here, I got a hello for you, brother.
What's up?
We were literally just talking about you.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I swear to God.
You were fucking burying me, but go ahead.
Oh my God, Bryan Clark is here. The man, the myth, the legend is legendary. Bryan Clark is
here. I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm pulling up the interview now. I told you whatever we were talking about, we were Bomb Squad.
That's right. Yeah. I'm listening.
Holy shit, Bryan. This is fucking amazing. Cheers.
Gatorade, brother.
We're drinkers, but holy shit. This is an honor to have you on.
It's an honor for you to come on here and kick both your asses, but go ahead.
We deserve every part of it.
We deserve everything. This is amazing. I can't tell you how perfect timing was because we were literally talking about you just now.
Imagine that.
Bryan Clark, former two-time WCW and one-time All Japan Tag Team Champion with Brian Adams.
You got it.
You're the king of the little footballs. The man who never went to leg day. That's our joke. And you have a great sense of humor. And you're the master of the meltdown. We love that finishing move, by the way.
That is true. By the way, did you happen to see the two new my buddy over in Ireland is putting together a series of reels. Did you guys have to catch those today?
I did not see them today. Okay. I have not really been online.
I will send those to you, man. It's basically like a storybook of my career, and he's done a hell of a job, man. He's an excellent guy.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. I can't believe you fucking finally showed up.
Hey, I was going to get my receipt one way or the other, and
you're going to get your receipt.
Listen, we know what that means because PN News told us what the receipt means. So yeah, we deserve that receipt.
Oh my God, I thought you guys knew the business. You're finally figuring out. You had PN News tell you what a receipt is. Oh,
listen, we're students of the game. Like I told you, I would be a wrestler if I can go back in time. But we're not in the big game, so I didn't know what a receipt was. PN News told us what that was all about.
Oh, you guys. I got to school you guys. You guys are so far behind.
Listen, Bryan, I got to give you credit. We have fucked with you now for 6 months, and you have had the greatest sense of humor.
Definitely, absolutely.
And everything has been not mouse, but you know what? I'm going to advertise it like you're confronting us because that's great kayfabe. And we talked about last week how we think kayfabe is dead. Now, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. What do you think about the wrestling industry today?
Oh, man. I've had a hell of a few weeks selling property and moving and buying and purchasing and leasing. It's been crazy for myself. I've tried to keep up with it. Honestly, I have. I did SummerSlam autograph session in Vegas, and I got to reconnect with a lot of guys. And I still try to follow what's going on. But, yeah, man, I sort of think that, I feel like probably a lot of people do that the competition is a good thing. It was back in my time with Nitro and Raw, and I work both companies. I think it's a good thing, and I just think they need to keep raising the bar.
I have a question for you when it comes to, like he was talking about kayfabe. Now, the WWE and AEW landscape, obviously now with social media, a lot of the lines are blurred. So AEW is a competition, but you have WWE wrestlers talking about, oh, hey, I'm so jealous that I'm not there, or, oh, that's so amazing for you. Do you think that's something that should be promoted going forward, or do you think as a wrestler back in the day when kayfabe was huge, or even a promoter, that's something that should be frowned upon and leave something to the imagination of fans? Because now, like me and Ryan, we're 40 years old. We've noticed that fans in wrestling.
You guys look 75, but go ahead.
You're so generous.
I'm begging both of you to go work out, but go ahead. I'll help you out, like I'll help you out with probably everything. But go ahead.
Except leg day.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if I
squat holder, but go ahead and go ahead and roll in your whatever.
I worked out one day once. I did.
Yeah,
I did work out one day.
I actually walked past. Actually, I actually joined a Planet Fitness just because I knew they had bagels and pizza on Friday.
That's perfect for you, brother. You just stick with that plan. You're on a roll.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
So
go ahead. Go ahead, Jim.
Do you have any opinion on whether that should be promoted or frowned upon? Because I've noticed that wrestling fans haven't really stayed the same age as they did back then. They just keep getting older. Like, in my opinion.
For me, brother.
Oh, man, look at them. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. No. But serious. I think, like I said, back in the day, even when guys went from territory to territory, it was a good thing. So I don't think it's a bad thing for these guys to get picked up. I mean, hell, where else are you going to go? I mean, I don't think, as far as kayfabe saying, oh, I may have an offer from here or there, use that to your advantage. Like, NFL players use it to their advantage to get a better deal. So why not? Yeah. That's just what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, say I'm on a 3-year contract with WWE and you're in AEW.
Right.
And I said, and you have a main event match in AEW, and I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous at real Bryan Clark for being in AEW. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in WWE and, I have my boss looking at my Twitter like, yeah, that's probably not a good look.
Well, I know when I say they, as in WWE, they're very controlling that way.
Right.
From what I see, I think that Tony Khan is a little bit more relaxed with it because he's getting a lot of talent. Like, for example, I used this the other day, like with Miro. I mean, he's finally getting something that he deserved. He worked hard for it, but never got it with Vince. And there's a ton of guys like that, me included. At least I feel that way. And not just me, my partner, Brian Adams. There's a ton of guys that didn't get at least a shot at something because we had it pulled out from underneath us. And I could go on and on about the examples, but I'm not going to sound like sour grapes about it. It's just that it is what it is, man. And these guys can get talk about it and get some buzz going and get themselves in a better position, then so be it.
Like, I totally agree with you when it comes to, talent that should have been more than they were, and Vince didn't use them to the potential. Like you said yourself, Bryan Clark. I'd even say someone like Ahmed Johnson back in the day. He wasn't an Intercontinental champ, but that was about it. I thought he could have been a main event performer at the time.
Except for his promos, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, except for promos. But I know Vince, liked the big guy, and he had the look at least, and
he definitely had the look, yes.
But and now today, there's so many guys that I see that are jumping ship because of the fact of what Vince is doing. You take Alistair, you take all the guys off NXT that he pulled up, and just squandered them all. You got Alistair Black, even Ricochet, which I think is one of the best performers in the world. Andrade, Miro, all these guys, and now they're a lot of them are seeing talent. Opportunities in AEW. I can't blame them, but I know a lot of people are pissing and moaning because they're just taking all WWE guys now. Well, what do you want them to do? Just sit there and be buried?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I say I applaud them for being able to go work for Tony Khan and being able to go and still continue. But because, like I don't keep referring to myself, but like with me, I felt like honestly I felt like I didn't hit my peak until I was like 34, 35.
Right. Yeah.
And I felt like I was absolutely at my most athletic and most dominant at about 35.
Okay.
In that 5-year window from 35 to 40, man, I was on a roll, as whether it was Wrath with the meltdown as a singles or with Chronic with Brian Adams. It's that maturity and seasoning as a wrestler and learning your craft to perfectly knowing how to work an arena from promos to A to Z. I think it's a good thing that the guys are getting another shot.
I know when I was younger and I saw you premiere or debut, and I was like, yo, who is this guy? He looks fucking crazy. We get the contacts and, all that shit. And you were just dominant. And I was like, oh, this. And I don't know, what year was that? Was that 90?
3, 4, 5, yeah.
I was about 12, 13 years old. And I'm sitting there going, this guy's definitely going to be a champion. No doubt about it. He's going to be a champion. And then it was like you were there, and before I knew it, you were gone, and then you reappeared in WCW. And same thing, and you guys, you and Bryan Clark, who I also loved when he was Crush back in WWE, Bryan Adams, was when you guys were Chronic, I was like, oh, these guys are fucking awesome. And it's just that you were utilized so much differently when you went somewhere else than you were WWE. And I wonder if there's like, at what point is it that Vince just loses interest in somebody? Is it because of just personality disputes, or is it something else?
Well, it's not always if Vince loses interest, but it's also if the talent loses interest, which was in my case. I had, like I said, man, I don't want to sit here and complain about stuff, but
right.
I had a Slim Jim type offer on the table. I went to see the CEO of the board of directors, the works with it was the back in the day Red Bull kind of deal.
Okay.
And he snatched that right out from under me. So between that and one lie after another lie, I was just like,
yeah, fuck it.
I'm done. I'm like, I have an offer, 3-year guaranteed deal. And then I signed another 3 and on and on. But my point being is like the talent, you're working for 290 plus days out of the year.
Right.
And you get home and you see your paycheck and you're like, I thought this was the biggest company in the world. I got action figures, video games, it works, and my paycheck is the shits.
Right.
And your wife's like, you're gone for 24 days and this is it. So yeah, I mean,
And aren't you?
And not to, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna go back and say that I was not the only guy. There were a ton of guys in that same situation during Vince's steroid trial,
right?
And we had to eat it, and it sucked, and it was hard, and it was brutal. Surgeries, whatever, they didn't care. Pay for it yourself and get back on the road, or else kind of situation. Yeah.
I apologize, Brian. So I'm so sorry.
Hey, man, that family is first, brother.
Vinny, just so I know what question you asked, what question did you just ask him so I don't ask the same question?
I was pretty much.
He asked me how bad I was going to put my foot in your ass, and I said, "Well,
pretty bad.
Depends on how much yap I hear."
Funny thing, what I asked him was, when he gets to the leg press machine, how difficult is it for him to put the first top weight? You put it to the second weight.
I walk by and I go out to Chipotle and I just go eat. Yeah,
we never said you were fat. We said you had a huge upper body. but we happened to see you in one of the pay-per-views we watched, and your legs look smaller than the guy next to you, and that's how the whole joke started.
Not buying it. Not buying it. We're talking a 700+ pound squat right here, brother.
Listen,
two times state champion. I don't care what you watch. Had to be a bad camera angle.
I think you were standing next to the 1-2-3 kid. Listen,
Wow,
we were both huge fans of you. I saw you at many house shows when I was a kid. Like, this is all. Listen, they're all jokes out of respect.
I don't even listen. As a shoot, where are you guys based out of? Because I'm not quite sure.
Jersey.
New Jersey.
Oh, the effing armpit of America. Okay, go ahead.
Listen, Captain Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I've been there. That place sucks too.
First of all, if you were so smart, you would know that I'm from Florida and not Pennsylvania. That's a work. Oh my.
Okay, everything I've read said.
I don't care. See, right there tells me.
I did my research. I have like 30 questions here. I did my research.
Oh my God. I'm not going to get to all 30. I'll take a few. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Gee, that's where Adam Bomb's from, of course. 3 Mile Island. Yeah, that's where he's from. Got it. Okay.
Then you need to change your Wikipedia.
Screw Wikipedia, man. They don't know shit.
I thought he was from Devil's Island, damn it.
From Fire Island.
At least he's not from parts unknown.
That's true.
We do hate that. We do hate the whole parts unknown.
Or Uranus. That could be worse, right?
So I do have a 2-part question. You get your start with AWA. You're the Night Star, right?
Yeah,
right around 1980.
I had a cup of coffee there before they closed shop, but yeah.
I'll
tell you something else to the AWA. I was actually still at Central Missouri playing college football. I had walked on after the military. I walked on, got a full ride. Never even played high school football. That's a shoot. It started as a defensive tackle as a freshman. But yeah, I did a little bit of AWA in the off season. So green, man, had no idea what I was doing.
How was the it's a couple part question. How was the transition from football to wrestling? I know like a lot of wrestlers like Roman Reigns, Goldberg, all that, they were all football players who transitioned into wrestling. How was it for you? Was it like a natural transition? Because you're actually obviously an athletic guy. Was it a hard transition to go from football to wrestling?
Well, like I said, out of high school, I did a lot of neighborhood sports, but I didn't do high school sports. And then, like I said, I went to the military, got on the U.S. Air Force powerlifting team with my skinny legs. And I won a U.S. Air Force in Europe powerlifting championship and stuff. And so I had that background. It was a great foundation in the military course, but also the heavy duty weight training was a great foundation for me to pursue what I wanted to do, which was pro wrestling. But yeah, it was hard. There's no doubt, man. I went to the power plant before it was even called the power plant. It was an old, nasty carpet warehouse. That's the shoot, man.
Now, so you're in AWA for like you said, a cup of coffee,
right?
And then you go right to WCW. What happened that brought you from AWA? Was it because they closed down, or did you get a call from them to bring you there?
No, the guy that introduced me to the business was Ox Baker. Legendary guy. Love Ox to death, but he was never a worker. Ox was a brawler. And I knew that me being 6'6.5", 290, 300, I had to learn how to work. And I knew that Ox could help me in that. And so I got hooked up with Jody Hamilton through Ox. Jody Hamilton and Dwayne Bruce, who actually ran – wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the power plant at the time, but they were taking guys, they would just take anybody, but they said, yeah. Jody basically gave me a handshake and said, come on down and I'll train you. And as soon as I graduated, I packed up everything in a U-Haul, man, and I went from Kansas City to Atlanta and started training. So I knew that I had a couple little things I did in WCW, but again, I was not under contract. I worked a couple of shows where they threw me in there last minute kind of thing, which I didn't like that, but what are you going to do? Everybody learns. My real first break was getting into via my friend Paul Orndorff, getting through him to introduce to Jim Cornette and Smoky Mountain Wrestling. So that was really my first getting into Smoky. That was really my first break in the business. I felt at least.
Now, real quick before I go to my next question, you're military. Vinny is military. I respect the fuck out of both of you guys. Thank you both for your service. Vinny was Army. You said you were Air Force, so right there, awesome. Thank you guys both.
Yeah, my father, Marine Corps veteran from Korea. From Korea, both my nephews, Special Forces. My uncle, Chief Master Sergeant, Air Force. My great grandfather, World War II. My entire family is military, brother.
Yeah,
my grandfather was World War II. My father, National Guard. I just didn't do it. I mean,
you would have never made it. Just you.
I wouldn't. I would not have. He knows that when he signed up, August of 2001. By the way, I knew I was not going to make it. September, obviously, we're just past the anniversary. He ships out in October. That was the scariest time for me. Vinny's my best friend. We've been friends since we were 14. So that was the scariest time for me as his friend. But mad respect to both of you guys. So thank you both.
Yeah, man. Hey, no mention necessary, but you're welcome. And like I said, I'm just a grain of sand along a line. Long Beach of all the guys that have went before me, family, friends, before and after me. I'm just a little side note, but I'm a very proud veteran, and I just did a show. As a matter of fact, it's called WWAB. It's like it's with Avi Klein, and we talk about everything. We interact with Hollywood, and we got like 60 people in a tournament. And I'm in round 2. I'm actually talking smack about Rick Barry, the NBA Hall of Fame guy. Yeah. I'm not a basketball fan, so of course, I really put the boots to him. And so, but yeah, that we did a big 9/11. My point being that we did a big 9/11 tribute show, and very touching. And man, just. Everyone remembers where they were at that day. I just did Monday Night Raw in San Antonio. Me and Bryan drove to the next town, which was Houston, and we were about to fly out that morning at 9 a.m. And it had happened on the East Coast, and they shut us down.
We lived in Bergen County at the time, and where you could see the skyline from our houses.
Yeah.
I'd be on the phone. I was on the phone. This is the story. It ends in a kind of funny story. We were on the phone talking about it because he could see it from his house, and I had to go down the street to see it from my house because we lived about 10 miles away. And there'd be jets flying overhead. And as I'm on the phone with him, they'd fly over my head. And a second later, I hear him over his head. And we ended the night because we were both watching the news all day, and we're just panicking, and we actually ended the night in a strip club where I ran into my ex-girlfriend. But that's just how we coped with it, because it was just like, we can't sit here and watch the news all day.
Yeah, I'm shocked that even a strip club was open, honestly. But everybody had to do. I don't know. It was a hard time, and as a shoot, like I said, my heart goes out to each and every member of the military, special forces, fire, police, on down the line, man. And just
Absolutely, and we're not. Like I said this on a tweet, we're not sentimental in this show, but that's one of the things that we will always do.
I'm not trying to bring it down. I'm just saying,
no.
Just respect to those who did what they had to do.
Absolutely, and that's the one thing we'll always be sentimental about in the show.
Yeah.
Even though we were the crazy drunk assholes that you are scared of, apparently. But
I'm terrified. I may not even sleep tonight looking at you two. I mean. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight.
This is the kind of shit that we keep in my house, so
you need to sleep with that on your face.
I do every day.
He does actually, yeah. But anyway, so you jump around a little bit and go to Universal Wrestling Federation, Smoky Mountain Wrestling Federation, or Smoky Mountain Wrestling, where you beat Tracy Smothers, become the second champ of the TV championship, but you lose it 6 days later. Why did you drop it so quick? Did you know you were leaving again, or
no? That's just, I think I was a transitional type champion. I was with Kevin Sullivan, and we were in bloodbaths every week. So of course they're gonna keep this psycho killer as a TV champion, because we were beating the piss out of guys. Oh my God, it was crazy. But I loved it. But yeah, I was a transitional champion. But still, it showed me that Jim had confidence in me to say, man, I can put the strap on this guy for 7 days, whatever, and we'll be okay. And that locker room was loaded with talent, man. So much. I learned so much. That was probably the best time of my career, being around so many veterans and so much leadership.
Now, after you dropped the strap, as you call it, which we're not allowed to say in WWE anymore.
That's so stupid.
Did
man.
you see that new
No,
thing?
it doesn't surprise me. What's next?
After you drop the belt, how does you go to WWE? How did that happen? Like, everybody talks about, they got the call from Vince. They went to his house. They sat with. How did your call to go to WWE?
I didn't go have brownies with Vince and Pat. No, I didn't do that.
So how did the Adam Bomb persona get presented to you?
Okay, I guess they got in contact with Jim Cornette. When I say they, I think Sergeant Slaughter was the guy. That's who called me. So they got in touch with Cornette and said, "Hey, man, we really like this guy. We want to take a look at him." And so they called me up. They were in the Carolinas, just so happened to be, and they called me up for a tryout for 2 days. I tried out the first night. They told me I had the job after the first match, the first night. I worked both nights, but yeah, they hired me the first night, and so that's sort of how that happened. They basically said, "Go home and finish up your commitments," which I had some bookings that I had to finish up, and they would come up with a gimmick for me, and they did. I was offered 2 different gimmicks, and I'm so tired of defending this. I don't even know why I bring it up.
You don't have to defend anything to us, trust me.
Yeah. Okay, so they offered me 2 things. You got to remember, back in the day, in '93 when I started, they trademarked everything.
Yeah.
So they trademarked the Ringmaster, and they also trademarked Adam Bomb. And so they sent me both drawings. I probably got them in here somewhere. They sent me drawings of everything and all what the character could be and blah blah blah. And so I said, I felt more comfortable with working with Adam Bomb. I felt like I could do a lot more with it as far as just the look, man. It's very comic book. It jumps off the page, just like Marvel Comics, which I've actually connected with a guy from Marvel Comics, which we'll get to that later. But yeah, so that's how that happened.
I mean, I would pick Adam Bomb too over the Ringmaster because the gimmick was shit. You know?
And I can remember the photos. Like the Ringmaster had like a whip, like top hat, and he looked it looked ridiculous. I don't know how. Later it went to Steve Austin, but again, it was a little different when they pitched it to him. So yeah, you know,
I was telling Brian before, Ryan, I was telling him that when we were 12, 13 years old when he debuted, that I looked at Adam Bomb and I was like, yo, this guy is fucking crazy looking, like he's gonna be a champion. I was just like, I guess that's what, when you saw that gimmick, that's what you were looking for to be the like, oh my god, look at this guy, like he's larger than life sort of like character, and it was like that. It drew me. Like I thought it was scary to me at first, but it was like also someone that I wanted to win. That makes any sense. No, kind of like an Undertaker, like scary, but you want him to win.
It definitely made sense. I just felt marketing and merchandise wise and those things that I was thinking about even way back then. I just felt like I could do a lot more with it.
If you, I mean, as a wrestling fan, I don't know about anyone else who speak on this, but if I was to think about what's more memorable now, do you remember Steve Austin being the Ringmaster? No. Really. If you remember, hey, do you remember the wrestler the Ringmaster, or do you remember the wrestler Adam Bomb? What are people going to say? They're going to say Adam Bomb to me.
Absolutely. Now, it's a perfect transition to my next question. You were such a dominating character. Why do you think Vince never gave you a championship, like any championship?
Well, again, not to rehash past history, but they were putting the IC strap on me, and then that got changed, And then while you were away, I talked about a big deal that was very much along the lines of Randy Savage's Slim Jim deal, but it was with a new energy drink company. And that was, like I told him, I met with the board of directors and the works, and it was ready to go. And the last second, Vince pulled that from me. And I was just like, enough is enough. I'm already working
right
290 plus per year, plus personal appearances, plus, my home life is non-existent. So, I mean, it's a breaking point for everybody. I mean, look at CM Punk. He had enough. A lot of guys have had enough, man.
And what made the transition from Johnny Polo to Harvey Wimpleman? Because I believe that's when you went from face to heel, or heel to face, where you switched from Johnny Polo to Harvey Wimpleman.
Yeah,
and he was still a heel, and then Harvey Wippleman turned on him, and then he became face.
Yeah.
Very nonchalant, not a big deal turn, but I still tried to make it work. It was just one of those things where with me and Polo, it had sort of ran its course, and I really never felt that I needed. At least I didn't need him. I didn't feel like I needed Harvey. There was a lot of other people that would have a better fit. You know what I mean? I think they just sort of, back then they were just sort of throwing things against the wall and say, okay, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And so I think that's how that happened. I didn't even know he was my manager until like almost the day before I got there, kind of thing. Yeah.
I feel like in the 90s, everybody had a manager in the 90s. The manager of LA was like everybody had to come out with somebody. But
and unfortunately, I'm sorry, Vin, go ahead. I was just going to say, unfortunately, you kind of came up in the WWE in that era, like post and kind of still in that era of Repo Man, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, and I think your character almost kind of got lost in the Doink the Clown. Like, it got lost in the gimmick character that Vince was doing in the mid-90s, where I think if you were just before or just after that, it might have made a bigger impact that it should have if you weren't in that shuffle of the gimmick characters that were out at the time. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. It's very possible. It's just hard to say. Like I said, I think he was so wrapped up and trying not to go to prison for the steroid trial. I think that he just really lost had his hand on the pulse. I think he just took it off and just sort of let other people maybe run it. I don't know. I just know that I know my schedule, my payoffs, and what I was doing versus when I got home, we see the check in the mail. I'm just like, I got a lot more guaranteed working for Ted Turner than I did with him. So, everybody's gonna make that choice, and I made it.
No,
Vinny, I'm sorry, I cut you off, Vinny. Please, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to ask, but he kind of decided. He told me anyway. He wanted to work with the check for Ted Turner. I was going to say, is there a time where you could walk into Vince's office and voice your displeasure, or talk to Pat Patterson or any of those guys, and actually give them feedback, or was it kind of like, hey, you're talent, you do what we say, and we really don't care. You're going to work for us, and that's it.
Well, there was a time that I could talk to Vince, but it was still like it was, and I referenced this before, it's like waiting outside the principal's office to get in, to go through 10 people to see him, which I thought was BS. I'll give you a perfect example. They didn't have merchandise for me, which Adam Bomb gimmick screams merchandise. I went in, I had a graphic, I'm very much into the graphic arts and having, I got a ton of merchandise we can talk about later, but whatever.
I love your videos, by the way, with the throwing the football. And I love them.
Well, you should see the one of Wrath today. It's pretty.
I didn't see that one today, but I love the ones that you've been posting.
Well, any of them, retweet them.
Okay, definitely. They, like I said, they didn't have merchandise for me, and I was like, how the F do you not have any merchandise for this gimmick? It screams. So right. I went to a graphics artist, gave him all of my ideas, took him into Vince's office, and he's like, "Oh, these are great. We gotta get these down to merch." And next, I had merch within a week, all because I took that initiative to say,
right.
here's the deal. I mean, those silly little footballs, all that stuff, man. But the shirts, everything is screamed merchandise, and it popped. And of course, when he looked at it, but as it went on, it got to be more and more of a pain in the ass to try to talk to him. Yeah. But just on the flip side of that, when I would talk with Eric Bischoff, I could talk with Eric just about any time I wanted to, not unless he was in a big meeting or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Eric and I had a really good relationship when it came to negotiating contracts, negotiating deals. We would go, when we negotiated contracts and deals, we would go outside of the wrestling. We would meet at a restaurant or even a strip club. We would meet at some crazy places and just have a beer and talk about, okay, how long is this deal going to be? What does it entail? Where are you going with me? Those kind of things. And I never had that type of that relationship with Vince.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back that you finally decided, like, fuck this, I'm leaving WWE and I'm going to WCW? Was it a money thing, or was it just like a character control thing?
No, it was definitely the work schedule, the money issue, and then being told that like the merchandising deal, the big Slim Jim type deal that was snatched out from under me. And I'm like, why the F are you doing this? I'm putting everything I can into this, and you're still snatching it out from under me. And I finally said, I'm done. I was supposed to be in Boston, and Vince called me. He was like, why are you not in Boston? I was like, because you fucking lied to me. What else do you want to know? I mean, yeah. And I knew I had 6 months left, so I went over to the UK and worked, which I love the UK. I was actually stationed over in the military for a while. But yeah. And so it was an easy decision, man. I lived in Atlanta at the time. I'm from Florida. All my family is there, not Harrisburg. And it wasn't that hard of a decision for me.
So when you go to WCW, I mean, you bounce around the indies for a little bit, and then you go to WCW and they hand you the Wrath gimmick.
Yes.
And when you popped in our chat, the last live stream we did, we had asked you, and you said, do your research. What was the deal? Like, they hand you the Wrath, and obviously they're trying to play up on the Mortal Kombat thing with Glacier and Mortis and all that. So what was they hand you this Wrath gimmick, which you did sell. Like, you did do it to the best extent you could do it. But the original gimmick was the Mortal Kombat thing, and there was a skull or something that you draw power from. Like, how did they sell that to you?
It was very much off of Mortal Kombat. I actually ended up getting a spot on a Mortal Kombat TV series.
I did see that. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there was some good out of it. Yeah, the storyline was not that great, but again, we had some good guys. We had Chris Kanyon, who was a hell of an athlete.
Yeah.
Not much on the mic. He had that lisp,
He did have the lisp, didn't he?
Yeah, that hurt him. But he tried. Chris had a lot of demons. We had Ray Lloyd and a shoot world champion, which was Ernest Miller, who was later in the Wrestler. Yeah. But yeah, I helped train Ernest from day one, man. He was so green. Actually broke his ribs. I still give him hell about that. Tilt-a-whirl back broke his ribs.
Savage.
Yeah, bro. Get my way. I'm going after it. Anyway, so yeah, it was laid out to us, and we just said, we try to make the best of it as we could. But when it here's the good thing. It's like when it ran its course, and I go back to watching that new Wrath version 2. It's out on my Twitter now, and share it with you guys, and you just get an idea of how impactful it was. But what I did is I basically said, Eric, I said, before you scrap this thing, let me do Wrath my way. Give me a month, 2. If it doesn't get over, then I'll do whatever you need me to do. Right. And so I worked on it, came up with. I very much tied Adam Bomb with Wrath. If you look at it, if you look at the singlet, the whole deal, I came up with that meltdown finisher, which is full. I mean, very few people could do that. And so I came up with that finisher. Everybody did the pump handle with dropping, but I was like, screw it. I'm taking the guy full shoulder and then bam. And so all those things tied in, man. And I went on an undefeated streak for, I don't know, 6-7 months, whatever the hell it was. So I proved to him that, hey, I could get this over and make it work. And it did work. So, that's the good thing about being able to talk with Eric. Versus not having a clue at the other place.
Now I'm sorry, Vinny, do you have a question?
Yeah. It was like, now with Wrath 2.0 and you have the undefeated streak, let's be honest. We watched a couple of the matches that you fought against Bill Goldberg. I honestly believe that you are a better talent than Bill Goldberg. I don't know if anyone else will say that. I never thought Goldberg was something that was – he was like the flash in the pan to me, and why he's still going on is I don't get it. Like, you, to me, are a better athlete. He was this just show. Like we always talk about that Hulk Hogan today would never last in the business because he wouldn't be as talented as the wrestlers now.
He was a personality.
Yeah, he was a personality. Goldberg was – you look at me like, oh, my God, look at this guy. And they used Goldberg in 60-something matches doing a jackhammer for 5 seconds, and that was his match. And that sold like this larger-than-life, a guy who couldn't wrestle a 10-minute match. When you're going out there performing these long matches and being underutilized. Anyway, when you're doing your undefeated streak, when does it come down and it's like, oh, you're going to lose today? How does that – without having, a championship belt, what is the feeling you're like, oh shit, what was this build up for? Like, why am I undefeated? You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was that reaction there?
I was surprised just for the fact, and I think it had to come down to maybe Kevin Nash had a little creative control in his contract, because if you remember, they put Nash versus Goldberg, but what they did was they were trying to build Kevin. And I actually had a good match with him, believe it or not. For two big men, I drop kicked him right in the mouth, and he's 6'10". We did a lot of stuff. For a big man match, it was a good match. It was short, and we could have got so much more out of it.
Yeah.
But what they wanted to do was show that Kevin could beat another undefeated guy and then beat Goldberg the next month. So that was the buildup.
Do you think that's the reason? Because that was my next question that Vinny kind of led into. Do you think because the rumor is that you were supposed to beat Goldberg?
Correct.
Do you think
I don't know about
because
beating,
you lost in that, were you supposed to challenge him?
Yeah, absolutely. That is what I was told. We were going to go me versus Bill.
Now, do you think the reason that because you lost to Nash, they kind of scrapped that idea?
Well, when I lost to Nash, it already put Nash versus Bill. You know what I mean? So it sort of put me down a spot, if you think about it. I mean, because Nash had beaten a guy who was undefeated, and then next he would face Bill, and he beat Bill's undefeated. But this business is a work. You guys know that. You can't go undefeated forever.
Right.
I know that. I get it. But there's a time and a place for a win and a loss also.
But like that kind of, if you think about it, that kind of ended your run, and they didn't really push you again. I mean, we'll get to Chronic. We'll get to Chronic, obviously. Yeah. But you had this great run as Wrath, and then you lose to Nash, and then your Wrath run almost kind of just comes to a halt.
Well, yes and no. The next night, I went back on another undefeated streak. But a month or two later, I tore my ACL off the top rope, coming off the top. I'd done it hundreds and hundreds of times, but this just happened to be one of those nights where my skinny legs couldn't hold my body. So I tore my ACL, and I was out for, I don't know, 8-9 months. It was a hell of a recovery. But I came back, and of course we formed Chronic.
Now that's actually my next question. How did you get hooked up with Bryan Adams? We're both huge Bryan Adams and Crush fans. Were you guys friends before this, or did you like kind of pair you together and you just clicked?
We were fans. We were friends working for Vince, but we never really traveled together, was in the same circles or anything, but we always got along. But man, when they put us together, we did not realize how much we had in common. both former military veterans. Both Bryan was a vet also.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Both 6'6", 290 plus. As soon as we got together, man, it just clicked. I mean, bam! It took no time for us to get over.
Yeah.
And I'll say that that's the best partner I've ever had. Hands down, the funniest guy, one of the funniest guys in the business. Great guy for ribs, great guy for comedy. He was just so damn funny, man. People have no idea. I would be crying. I couldn't catch my breath when you start talking in the car. I like, dude, either pull the car over or shut up because you're killing me. I'm like, I cannot breathe right now. Tears running down my face, laughing at some of the shit he would say.
We were always big, huge Crush fans, like Demolition and the Kona Crush, and then going to the Nation Domination, and then hooking up with you. But you guys hook up as Chronic.
Yeah.
You were a dominating tag team in WCW. Whose idea was it to kind of turn you guys into almost an APA?
Yeah, people say that, man, but we were not like the APA. The only similarity was that when they had the New Blood versus the Millionaires Club or some silly thing. We were sorry about that.
You were quote unquote muscle for hire in a couple pay-per-views
during the second half of it, and then we got cheered either way, whatever we did. I'll be honest with you. They just liked they loved having a badass steamroller tag team, man. It was like a little bit like the Road Warriors, just go out there and kicking people's ass. And we loved it, man. And the fans loved it. So it was a good thing, man. I love being tagged up with Bryan, no doubt.
Last week we just watched Halloween Havoc 2000, and you guys did a handicap match against Goldberg.
Right.
What was like? There was no we watched it.
A handicap elimination match.
Yeah, handicap elimination. We watched. We did our thing. We tell our jokes and everything. But seriously, who thought that was gonna there was no reason for you guys, who was a dominating tag team in WCW, to job essentially to Goldberg. There was no reason for that.
And for that to be the main event, and the Scott Steiner Booker T match to be prior to that.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Vince Russo was thinking, they were trying to get Bill reestablished as far as being able to just get back on that winning streak and kick everybody's ass. But the weeks prior, leading up to that, Bryan and I beat the shit out of Bill. We put him in a dumpster.
I remember all that. Yeah,
put him on a forklift and dumped him in the trash. we did a lot of stuff to Bill, and so I think it was just sort of like a revenge thing, for him to beat both of us, and we didn't mind because we had worked with Bill before, and we worked with Bill over in Japan. We always got along, had good chemistry, and so it was just business.
Vinny, go ahead, play. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask what was it like working during the Vince Russo era? Was it completely different than any other thing that you've experienced? Meaning that everything that we've watched during Vince Russo era was just like, what the hell is going on? We had the David Arquette thing with, Vince Russo winning championships and all kinds of nonsense. Was that like the bottom of the barrel, or you were just so focused on your own thing that you didn't even give, mind to what he was doing?
A little bit, because we were focused on what Chronic was doing, how we were being pushed and stuff, and we were at the top of the cards on all the house shows, on TVs and everything. So for a tag team to be that high on the cards, either semi-main or mains all around the world, it was good for us. It's hard to please everybody with all the gimmicks and different ideas and stuff. But Vince Russo really pushed Chronic in a good way. Almost throughout our run.
So my next question is, you have your run with Chronic. Vince McMahon buys WCW.
Yeah.
It's a match I don't want to ask you about, but I have to ask you about. You fight the Brothers of Destruction, and I watch it. I don't remember it being as terrible as a match as what I read.
Yeah.
But people online and everything, they say it was a terrible match. And, what do you remember about that match that people are saying that it's like, oh, God, that was a terrible match? It wasn't the best. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Brian, I respect you. It wasn't the best match. But what happened in that match that people are saying it's one of the worst matches?
It's very easy. We had been off for a year. Of course, we were working out, keeping ourselves in shape and training and stuff, but we had very little access. I say little access, very little ring time. I was in Atlanta. Brian was in Tampa. So, we just kept ourselves ready and stuff. And then when we got the call via Brian and Taker's friendship, they brought us up. And I told Brian, I said, man, I don't feel good about this. I said, we need to go to Japan. And he was like, well, Mark will do this and that. And I was just like, we're a tag team, bro. We're brothers. So I said, okay. I said, but we're going to Japan, like it or not. And so we went up there. But we were banged up at the time. It was not a good deal. If you look back at the match and the thing, you'll see. And again, they hot-shotted the entire thing. They just said, okay, you guys are, 2 squash matches and you're in a pay-per-view. Well, look, what the F is that? I mean, I suggested, hey, let's go on the road for 2 or 3 weeks, knock off the rust, work with these guys a little bit, then we'll have a hell of a match. But instead, Kane has got a big-ass staph infection on his elbow. Taker had a blown-out shoulder. My neck was screwed up. I think Brian may have had some back issues. And granted, those things are not going to heal up immediately, but in a couple of weeks, they would have just done a little bit longer than sort of hot shot and then kill them off. And that's the way we felt after we left there. So I said, okay, now we're going to Japan.
Is that what ended your second WWE run? Was that match?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we like I said, we were all banged up, and it needed more time to develop. Why rush it? I mean, we'd already choke slam Taker through a table. We put Kane through a table. We'd done all this stuff, and then all within like a week or two, maybe at the most, maybe 2 TV tapes.
It was a quick booking. It wasn't a long term.
A hot shot angle that could have waited and got a hell of a lot more out of it. Work these guys for 2 weeks on the house shows. That's the way you did it back when I was there. You work a guy for 10 days in Europe, and you come back and you blow the roof off the place because you got that chemistry. And, with us not being out of the ring for a year, plus the injuries where, like I said, with Kane and Taker and different things, it just was a recipe for not a good match.
I mean, that kind of happened with the DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. What was that, 2 years ago? At Crown Jewel Super Show. It was the same thing. They threw Shawn Michaels and Triple H out there. Shawn Michaels actually stole the show because Triple H got hurt. Kane's
wigs fell off.
Undertaker was a mess.
Just for that, I got to watch that. Now I got to Google that shit.
Oh, okay. It's terrible.
Shawn Michaels is the best part of it, and Shawn Michaels, hadn't wrestled in 3 years.
Kane's wig fell off.
The best part?
The best part was Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't that great in that match. And Vinny's a huge Shawn Michaels fan, but Kane's wig fell off. Undertaker couldn't sell anything. Triple H tore his pec. Like it was a disaster.
Oh, I got to watch that now.
Yeah, it was either like 2 or 3 years ago. It was I think it was like Crown Jewel or Super Showdown, something like that.
Okay.
I got a question real quick. When you were either in WCW or WWE, now I know as a fan, there are certain pay-per-views that we look forward to as, oh, I can't wait. Like my favorite is Royal Rumble. No doubt about it. My favorite pay-per-view. I'll take off of work to watch a Royal Rumble. I don't care. WrestleMania is cool, but I really don't care about WrestleMania as much as I do the Royal Rumble. Survivor Series.
Okay. Is Pork Chop over here get completely boozed up on this show or what? I see him.
I always do.
He's dragging booze left and right. He's like Steve Austin. He'll start catching the beer. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I see it. All right.
I'm actually just throwing him the beers and he catches it.
Okay.
But
all right.
So as a wrestler, what pay-per-view did you want to be involved in the most? Like, what was the pay-per-view that made you want to be like, oh, I have to be in Halloween Havoc, or I have to be in Royal Rumble?
I always thought Survivor Series was really, I love that whole concept.
Okay.
But then as far as WCW, Halloween Havoc, definitely, man. That was almost always, I say always, but at least during my time, was at the MGM Grand. And we put 17, 18,000 people in there, man. And that was really, and then Great American Bash was a great, show. There's a lot, and there's others that's just like, oh man, what? Once a month is too much. But
you got put in that Survivor Series. I think you were fighting Marty Jannetty, 1-2-3 Kid, Razor Ramon, and I think Mr. Perfect was the secret partner. And it was in '93, I believe. And
Randy was the partner.
No, it was Randy. Was this? Oh yeah, because it kept saying the perfect partner, and it wasn't.
Savage, and you were in the other team, but you didn't fit on the other. I forget. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who the other team was.
Martel, IRS,
right?
Diesel, and myself.
Oh, yeah. Right.
How did you get mixed in? Because that did not make every other tag team Survivor Series match made sense, and then it was yours, and because Brian Adams was on the main event one on the heel side with Yokozuna,
right?
We actually covered that pay-per-view, and we thought you should have been on the main event one with Brian and everybody else.
Well, you really don't want to put Adam Bomb with Yokozuna.
That's probably not a good idea.
I don't know.
Although you helped the Undertaker defeat Yokozuna in that one match. What was it? There was 12 wrestlers.
Oh, that was bullshit.
The casket match.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, Brian just actually cursed for the first time because he's.
I've let a few go tonight just because. I got to call you on what I got to call you on.
He was one of 9 wrestlers who helped Yokozuna beat you beat Yokozuna. You let Yokozuna beat the Undertaker. My bad.
Yeah, 75 guys and 12 guys in the popcorn stand and 5 other refs and everybody get on top of the. Come on, man. What a rib. We were in the ring laughing about it. It's like, how effing stupid is this? We were. It was just like, give me a break, man. I've been in so many casket matches and stuff, but that one was just like, man, come on.
We've covered almost every stupid match that there has been in wrestling. So we might have to visit that one.
Yeah. So don't lose any sleep over
it. So what we like to do on the show when we interview it, like I said to you, as many of the jokes as we like to tell, we try to be as best as we can, very professional in our interviews, but we do like to ask questions that you may not have been asked before. One of my questions that I love to ask is, who did you hate getting in the ring? Everybody always asks what your dream match was, who'd you love wrestling. Who did you hate getting in the ring with? Like Just Incredible told us JBL because he worked very stiff.
Well, I work stiff too, so that I always snug, I should say.
Snug.
God, I'll tell you who I did not trust and I didn't really like being was Virgil. Oh,
wow.
God. Yeah, man. He was so reckless. And it's like, I worked him. I beat him in a squash match when I first came in. And he almost blew my knee out just trying to do a schoolboy. And I'm like,
jeez.
I just beat the piss out of him after that. I was just like, you're an idiot. But I'm sure he's a nice guy and stuff, but I didn't spend much time with him. But I'm just
did he charge you $20 to take a selfie with him?
And I wouldn't give him a nickel, but whatever.
Nobody does. Apparently, the word on the street is that he will go up to people and say, "Hey, I'm Virgil from WWE," and they're like, oh, "Okay," and he takes a picture with their phone, and then he says, "All right, I need $20."
So tonight, I'm sending both of you guys. I need $40. So,
listen, it's well worth it for us to do that for you.
No, man. I like I said, just he's the one guy that I can think of like off the bat. It's like, man, I don't trust him with my being in the you got to trust guys in the ring for the most part, and there
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
have been other guys, but just off the top, I'm thinking about he comes to mind. Yeah.
What was the worst angle you were ever in? Like that you just were like, oh god, another week of me having to do this gimmick
Well,
angle.
yeah, I think when they put, for example, Chronic against the Harris brothers, that was not good.
The Blue Brothers?
That's Ryan's favorite tag team.
What's that?
That's
The
Ryan's
Blue
favorite
Brothers are my
tag team.
favorite tag team.
Oh well, sorry, brother. The chemistry was not there. I mean, we worked so much better with like Ray and Hoovy and so many other guys that we could just do so much stuff with. I got to see Hoovy back at SummerSlam on an appearance there with me and Booker T and Hoovy and Andrade, and I got to reconnect with those guys. It was great. But yeah, Hoovy was so. A lot of the other guys were easy to work with. With the Harris brothers, nothing against them. I like both the guys. There was no chemistry there. It was not a good matchup, and you got to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to trust who you're with.
All right. Aside from the person,
and I'll clarify, it wasn't a trust issue. I just think it was just not a good matchup. There have been a million matchups that were not ideal.
aside from the, who did you not feel comfortable working with? Who is the guy that you maybe did the stiffest move? Like when you did the meltdown, you were like, yo, I'm going to give this guy a meltdown. He's going to feel it. Like, who is that guy? You're like, I'm going to clothesline the shit out of this guy. Because God, you're like, all right, like you gave that receipt and you meant that. You're like, all right,
who did you give the receipt to in a meltdown?
Oh, there were a few. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was telling my wife about this the other night, but I don't know. We were talking somehow about something about along those lines, and I told her the story about Bryan. We were tagging a tag match against somebody. I don't remember who it is. So I don't want to mention names, but I just went off and just beat the crap out of somebody. Bryan was like, we got to the back. He was like, "What the hell are you doing? Did that guy owe you some money or something?" I mean, I was the hothead of the group, man. I was, and Bryan was the cool, funny guy, and I was just like, thug. And, I'll admit it. I don't care. It is what it is, brother.
I don't know if you ever saw the Ryan. Remember the Royal Rumble where is Eddie Guerrero, Hardcore Holly, and Benoit, and that guy Daniel Pewter. I think it was Daniel Pewter, right? Came to the ring.
Yes, I know they beat the shit out of Daniel Pewter
because he was about to snap Kurt Angle's ankle for real, and he came out to the Royal Rumble, and they beat the shit out of this guy they were doing the chest smack so hard they're just destroying this guy. And it was the last time he was ever in the ring, right?
Yeah, it was like APA versus Public Enemy when the one match that Public Enemy was in WWE, where APA just destroyed them because they didn't want to take the table shot, which was the agreed on finish.
Yeah, but they just wrecked this guy so bad just to be like, oh, okay, you want to play games? Here you go. And it was like you sat there and you were sitting watching it and you're like, oh God, that's real. That's like not even. It was bad.
I'll tell you another funny one was you remember when Umaga had Steve-O came in the ring and started talking shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that was man, that was another classic. Yeah, respect the business, or
oh yeah, absolutely.
At least it was back then. Now it's whatever happens. You got Bad Bunny as a world champion. Whatever.
I saw someone with Big Show where he does the smack, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know how that person's standing because I mean, obviously you're 6'6", he's 7 something, right? So he's just got a
6'10", 11, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, the size of his hands has got to be crazy. Just smacking you as hard as possible on your chest. Forget it.
Right. So I'll tell you a quick story. I'll just enter it with Paul. I worked a tag match one night, and it was me and Lex, Big Show, and maybe Sting. I can't quite remember. Anyway, we were a tag show in Little Rock, Arkansas, of all places. And some hillbilly, probably one of your cousins, hit the ring. And I remember Big Show he wasn't Big Show, but he was called the Giant back then. But he grabbed this guy. Honestly, as he came under the ring, we knew, okay, a fan has hit the ring. So he grabs this guy by the throat, like one step, two step, and just launches him completely over the side. The whole arena is just like, oh my God, they killed him. It's like, okay, is anybody else going to hit the ring tonight? Because if they do.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you guys skip a beat, or did you just did you pause for a second and be like,
no, we beat the shit out of him and then kept going with the match.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he throws him out of the ring, and right back to what we're doing.
And I watched him just fly. I'm just like, damn. One, two, wow, he's gone.
Does something like that happen often? Because I feel like we do see it as fans, but I think it happens more often than we get to see.
Well, it used to. I don't think it happens as much, if not very rare nowadays. But yeah, like I said, we were in Little Rock, so there you go.
No. Yeah.
Have you ever
tell your relatives to stay out of the ring?
Have you ever had, like you said, Big Show threw him out? Have you ever had an encounter like that? Like somebody coming after you?
Not necessarily after me, but I've been in situations. For example, that one. I know there were others in my career, but I'm trying to think of any that specifically like someone was actually coming after me.
If they do, they're fucking stupid. Like,
no, man, I've had shit thrown at me and spit and all the basics, But actually coming in the ring, I'd go off. I'm sure. I know me. I would. So it doesn't take much to make me sad.
I mean, you have to think that
you said you were not the cooler one in the Chronic. So
you have to think that anybody who's coming into that ring is not going to be sitting there trying to give you a handshake. Like, they're coming in there trying to, make a name for themselves. So you're going to just put them in the fucking grave. And
he can have a knife. That's the whole deal. Is like they know going in, don't ever do that. I mean, they can have a knife. We don't know what the hell they got.
I have a big real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. No. I have a big problem as a fan watching WWE or NXT, whatever, and seeing everyone touch the wrestlers coming down the stairs or walking down the ramp. Unless the wrestlers are reaching for a high five or something, that's fine. But just touching them and grabbing them, I don't see why are you touching them? Like, you shouldn't be reaching over grabbing somebody for I don't understand. That would piss me off.
If you watch, for example, my Wrath interests and stuff, I would always stay right in the middle. I would ease a little bit to the side, ease a little bit, and then focus down the middle.
Yeah.
But that was just my way of doing it.
So I know you said earlier that you try to keep up on current wrestling.
Yeah.
But you don't really watch. But of what you've watched, what do you think the best promotion is right now?
Oh man, there's bits and pieces I like of each one, and there's other stuff that I'm not too crazy about. AEW, I'm big. I really like Lance Murderhawk. I think he's man, he needs a run, definitely. Guy that big, that talented. I like what they're doing with Miro. And then on the other side, I like Drew McIntyre. There's a few guys that I totally don't understand the whole Big E thing. I'm still lost on that.
I said the same thing.
Okay, so he's a face, but he goes in and beats a wounded heel. And then how does that help him promote him as a face? And then he's doing these stupid comedic. I don't know what that is.
I said.
That's exactly what he said.
I said in this gimmick, Big E being a champion doesn't work. He's got to have a different gimmick.
No, I don't get it.
And I will say you kind of look like Drew McIntyre's dad, but
bro, you know how many times I told people that told me that I look like McIntyre, but 20 years older.
So let me ask you this: so Adam Bomb premieres today, Wrath premieres today, whatever you want to call it. Who in all of the wrestling industry? Who are you feuding with? Who is the guy that you're going to go, that's the fucking guy that I'm going to have an amazing match with? Me as Adam Bomb, whatever. Yeah. Who's the guy I'm feuding with?
Just the guys I just mentioned, man. I think Drew, I'd love if I could go back in time, of course, it would be Drew. I think he's excellent. There are a few other guys that I think will be a good matchup with Lance and AEW. Man, there's just a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys. I think AJ Styles, man, I would love that. Would have been so much fun working with him. There is some talent on both sides. That's what I mean. I think maybe the timing is right for both companies to rise up.
Which brings me to my next question. If you had a contract in front of you for NWA, Impact, WWE, and AEW, all money's the same, everything's the same, where are you signing?
AEW.
Everybody has said that. Everybody we've interviewed said that.
For Gary Michael Capetta. I think he said NWA.
He said NWA.
Oh, well, yeah, that was his era. So, yeah. I get that. I'm surprised Gary came and was on your show. That blows me away.
He got mad at us.
Gary lives two towns away from me, and he wants to come to my house.
That's why, because you had a hookup. That's the only reason.
He actually wants to go to the diner with us.
He wanted to do like a comedians in cars drinking coffee kind of interview, and I'd love to do it, but we're not set up for that.
I'm friends with him. I'm gonna have to say, look, man, do not hang out with these guys. You're gonna completely kill your gimmick off. Completely.
Gary was great. I love Gary. Gary was an awesome guy.
Oh yeah, I remember him way back in my days of very early WCW stuff. Yeah, real good guy.
Yeah, we had him, Mosh, Just Incredible, PN News, I think,
and my friend Mario Baccara. He was in TNA. I think he actually fought you on Raw on a dark match. He was a tag team champion in he was PWS world champion, and he was also a tag team champion with a guy who's in Impact. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but Gary was great. I love Gary. He was awesome. Yeah. He was the only one that said NWA though. Everybody else said AEW. No, why AEW though? That's the question I have now. That's the follow-up question.
Well, I've got friends there for starter. Well, Jericho, Justin Roberts lives out here in Phoenix. There are a few other guys. I know people there. I feel like Tony Khan would definitely give you a much better deal than Vince because it's a trust thing, man. I've got a Legends contract that's been sitting here for 3+ years. It's got dust on it, and we'll sit here for another 3 years. It just ain't gonna happen, bro. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to purchase all my trademarks within the last few years, so I own all 3 of them.
So with the Legend contract, like, what's the deal? Is it you have to make certain appearances? You have to.
Yeah, why do that when I can do it myself and collect all the money versus giving it to Vince? But the fact that I purchased my trademark names for Adam Bomb, Wrath, and Chronic, I've got 3 new action figures out. I've got 20 shirts. I got 2 stores in the U.S. and the U.K.
So he doesn't own any of that shit. That's all you.
Okay. I own, for the example, the rights for action figures, T-shirts, clothing, merchandise, stuff. He owns the library. He will always have the library. Okay. I don't care. That's not making me any money.
Right.
But with personal appearances and all the other merch and stuff, that's me. Yeah.
Nice.
So a question that I never really ask anybody, but since your career is very vast amongst all the promotions, it's a question I hate to ask. I almost cringe asking it, but what was your favorite match? You had such a career among WCW, AWA, WWE. What was the match that you go, that's the match that I want to be remembered for?
Oh, that's tough, man. I've had so many. Wow, there's a ton of matches with WWF and then WCW, and then as Wrath, as Chronic. Man, I don't know. The one that I guess touches me the most, I would think, with the fact that I was a huge Stan Hansen fan, have been always. When we won the All Japan Straps in Osaka, and Stan was on that tour as a special ambassador guest, and he presented us with those belts, man, and the streamers were flying down, and the place is sold out to the rafters, and we got both straps, which you can see
That's him. Yeah.
That's him,
Well,
yeah.
my point being is like, man, I'm just like, this is it. This is the pinnacle. This is, and Brian and I were just so happy, bro. It was to be able to come back from that crap with Vince at the last, that didn't work out. And then for us to rebound and go back and get the All Japan straps, that was, man, that's right up there. There are a few other, but that one, just for the fact that what we had to overcome injury wise at the end of our career, I don't know how else you could, a lot of guys just sort of fade away. And like I said, I mentioned earlier about those Wrath videos. This guy he's a good friend of mine, Jonathan O'Dwyer, who owns Pro Wrestling podcast in Ireland, is doing the follow-up, in which will be Chronic. And it goes through our whole career. It's just amazing highlight reel. So that'll give you guys, I'll make sure you guys get it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Who of your era that you were in, either be WWF or WCW, who is the one guy that you wish you could have wrestled that you never got a chance to?
Man, I worked just about everybody. And not so that I would wanted to work with him, but Hogan was one guy I never worked with. I worked with Brett, I worked with Savage and Taker and on and on. I never worked with Hogan. He had a very limited schedule towards the maybe I came in a little too late and it just wasn't in the cards. Again, I don't, he would probably be the only one that I'm trying to remember who else I did not work. Maybe him.
Was there any time that you were approached to be in the NWO? Or no?
No,
never.
Not that I can remember would have worked for me.
Right.
Even with Brian, when Brian was in the NWO, they sent him over to Japan and helped work that gimmick over there.
Right.
So I just think that it wasn't a good fit for me, and I don't think it was a good fit for him either. It was good that it kept him busy and going to Japan and stuff, but it just got so watered down. It was way too much.
Yeah, it was like
we said it too, because we covered the Bash at the Beach '96 when Hogan turned, which is probably undoubtedly the greatest moment in wrestling, when Hogan turns heel. And then you fast forward a year and a half, 2 years later, and Buff Bagwell is a leader in NWO, and it's like, okay, what happened to this?
Yeah,
amazing thing. Now, if you could have been a member of the NWO in the beginning, would you have done it if you were there?
If you're talking about the original 6 or 7.
Maybe, but I still do not know, just for the fact that, even the 6 or 7, I think 3 was a good number. Like I said, it just got out of hand. So I don't know if I would have been a good fit for it or not. Hard to say.
All right. I got one more random question we never ask anybody. So if we got the NWO question.
You never ask anyone this question, so why am I getting it? Is this a receipt?
Because you're Bryan Clark and you finally showed up.
But no, if you would have been in any faction, because I know we're in a tag team, obviously, but if you could be in any faction across all stables, I mean, not across all stables, across all territories.
Yeah.
You go pick DX, NWO, Aces and Eights, any of these factions, the corporation, any of them. Which one would you say that would have been the best fit for you if you were going to be an original member of it?
Wow, that's tough. Oh man, I should bring my puppy on here. I got a 15-month-old. Yeah, man. That's a tough question. I never asked that one. If you look back in history, of course, I was very young at the time. The 80s, probably with the Four Horsemen, that would have been phenomenal. Okay. Maybe in the Lex role, but a lot more athletic. It's hard to say, man. That's a good question. That's never came up. So maybe the Four Horsemen. I don't know.
Okay.
The original four, not that got watered down also.
Yeah, when they started bringing Sid and everybody in like the
Yeah,
late
exactly.
Now
early
that AEW, it's the 8 Horsemen.
Yeah, you
But-
go.
I have one final question. It's another question that just actually just popped in my head. Is there anybody that you wrestled in the same era of
that does less leg exercises than you do? No, I'm just kidding.
That was him, not me. That was him.
I'm coming through the screen, and I'll be.
That was him. Go after him.
Jersey appearances coming up, bro. So don't you
No,
guys?
Sorry.
Don't even sleep tonight.
Is there anybody in your era that you wrestled against that, or you even maybe you didn't even wrestle them, but you kind of think like, why are they in that spot and I'm not there? Why, like, you thought somebody was like overrated that you should have been in their spot that they weren't?
Like Goldberg,
Lex Luger.
That's a tough one too. Everyone works their own deals, at least with WCW, working with Eric, getting their contract, getting their money squared away in your first class accommodations and stuff like that. Whereas Vince, it was 3 or 4 to a rental car, get to the Super 8 and go rent out a cot and do the best you can. That's a shoot too, by the way. I don't know. That's tough to say. That's like the thing, or the 7 deadly sins, wrath, on and on. I don't know. I'm not sure, man.
You never looked at anybody and go, why the fuck are you there?
Yeah.
Like, nothing. Like I said before, I could honestly see you coming out and going and fighting these guys at SummerSlam now or Royal Rumble now on a one-off or whatever, doing your meltdown and winning a championship and being perfectly fine with that instead of Goldberg coming out and wrestling a fucking 10-minute shit match and being disappointed. And not for nothing, we talked about it all the time. Why does Goldberg need security? He's supposed to be this badass guy. Maybe, you know what? I think you should do his security next time he comes out. And then whip his ass and take his belt.
Well, maybe me and Ralphus would maybe
you and Ralphus.
You and Ralphus will come out with Goldberg security.
Exactly. That's what we can do. We can do that.
Brian, I can't believe you showed up here. This is
we appreciate it so much.
Finally, after 6 months of us
making
fun of you.
Let's stop your bitching. Come on.
No, listen.
Hey man, you know how much stuff I got going on right now with the resale?
Please tell us everything. Tell us everything that you're doing, where we can find you, where we can find your merch, and where you're going to be.
All right, merch wise, Wrestle Merch Central's got like a catalog of merchandise. Wrestle Merch Central UK Europe. Pro Wrestling Tees has 21 shirts that I designed every single one of them. So check them out. I had an input in the colors, the fonts, the works. For example, this badass one of many here.
I'm buying that one tonight.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you what. I'm going to buy, as soon as we get off this, I'm buying an Adam Bob shirt. And as soon as it gets here, the next show that we have after, I'm going to wear it.
All right, man. Cool.
Sounds good?
Yeah, man. Like I said, and the thing is, it's not just this doesn't look like an atom bomb shirt. If you look at it with the skull and I did that on purpose to make. And I'm also working on a fitness line called Bomb Gear with men and women's fitness line. So I'm working on that. Like I said, Pro Wrestling Tees, Wrestle Merch. I signed with Cella Toys. I've got 2 action figures out as 2 different versions of Atom Bomb. We're going to do a Wrath and we're going to do a Chronic series. So that's all in line. God, I know there's leaving out. But those are the big things right now. So yeah, got a lot of stuff going on. All positive stuff, man. Just staying busy with some real estate out here in Arizona. That's keeping me busy as hell. That's why I've been putting you guys off between that. I actually canceled the CAC. I should be in Vegas right now, but I was there last month for SummerSlam. So I've just had so much going on with these properties, and the market is just booming. I mean, it is crazy. So I'm getting ready to release a piece of property in the next week, probably if things go right.
You also have some Adam Bomb masks as well.
Masked.
Masks on the Pro Wrestling
Oh
Tees.
yeah, those. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, one of them do say the new thing with the bomb gear mark that I have that trademark to my trademark attorneys. That will be our actually kickoff of the MS Fitness clothing line. But I have the other masks. Hopefully, we don't need those masks. Yeah, but yeah, there's like I said, there's a full line, and both of those come, especially Russell merch, man, over in Central UK, man. I don't ever remember being that just such a huge line with the colors and the all the stuff. But I try to put out every month or so, maybe for a while once I got myself established on there. I was trying because I'm very. I can go and work out and do my cardio and I can come home and have a T-shirt design in my head just within a couple hours.
Stop. Keep doing that and just keep skipping leg day.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm doing.
Coming out with this awesome merch.
Yeah, if it's day, I'll just go and try to find. There's a In-N-Out burger that's close by. I'll just go over there and
Listen,
slam a couple of those.
If we stop this broadcast and you kick my door down to beat me up, I will just let it happen because we deserve everything that we're going to get from you.
No, it's cool, man. Just like I said, you guys know how it is. I'm promoting a brand just like you guys are, and so yeah.
I'm torn between two shirts though, or three shirts.
All right, let's hear your choices.
I have the nuclear warning.
Hey, okay, great. Glad you brought that up. That is Marvel Comics, Tom. Okay. Tom was back in WWF in 93 when I was there. He did I know, bro. I that's my idea. Thank you. You're welcome. But my point being is that Tom and I reconnected probably a year and a half or so ago. We worked on that for months and months. I wanted to have almost like an Iwo Jima type holding of the flag, but it's a nuclear flag. Yeah, so it's with the debris flying through the air. So a little hint of that. But we worked on that for a while. We're probably gonna do some more work together. But Tom was the guy that came up with Razor Ramon 1, 2, 3 self. He created Adam Bomb, not Vince. Tom Fleming is the one who came up with that. So that's
nice.
Yeah. Vince just said, "Oh yeah, it's all like that," yeah. But Tom,
I like it. Do it.
Yeah. Tom, if you look at it, I think it's called Flem Art, and he's on Facebook and Twitter. But Tom Fleming is real active now again, and his art is like I said. If you like Marvel Comics, man, he does amazing stuff. Yeah.
The next one obviously has to be Bomb Squad Veteran.
Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. They didn't do that design like I wanted. I've got one of them, and I'm not super happy with it just because it's not. I don't know if they missed out on the font or something. That's going to be redone. But yeah, go ahead. What's your next choice?
And I really like, which was this one, the Adam Bomb Veteran. Not Veteran. Reactor.
Is that with two nuclear reactors?
Yeah, so two nuclear reactors, and you're on the one nuclear reactor.
Yeah, back in my hometown of Harrisburg, right?
Yeah, in Harrisburg.
Yeah, in Harrisburg.
Yeah, that's a hometown guy there. And what was your? I think, man, if you like Marvel Comics, I would go with the very first one you mentioned.
Nuclear Warning.
But there's some badass ones of Chronic too. There's a new one called Chronic Dogs of War that is really awesome too.
I'll buy a Chronic one because we were always a fan of you, and we were always a fan of Bryan Adams. So, big ups. I'm going to take a shot to him because he was a great wrestler, and you say he was a great man. So
absolutely, man.
Cheers, Sam.
You got it, brother. Yeah,
he was a great guy.
One of a kind, man, no doubt.
And we were huge fans of him.
My office is a shrine to him. And I only have wrestling stuff in my office. The rest of the house, you wouldn't know that I lived here. But I've got so much stuff. And like I said, and those new reels that are coming up, the next one is actually Chronic. We've already covered Adam Bomb. I think we did. We were putting music to every one of them. The first one was Radioactive. Which was some good music too. They all have a good song with everyone.
Where can people find those, just so they know?
Oh, at Real Bryan, Bryan Clark on Twitter, and then Bryan Clark on Facebook. And I have not dipped into Instagram, but that will be next. It's
Nice.
just like it's such a job, man, doing all this, keeping up.
Yeah,
Trust me, I know. I'm running the show all the time.
Yeah, you guys know. So but at Real Bryan Clark on Twitter, I'm just getting started on that. I've only been a member for a few months. I've been on Facebook for a long time.
We're friends on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Listen, Bryan, I'll tell you one thing. Aside from all the ribbing and all that, you are probably one of the coolest fucking people we've ever talked to, because A, you could take a joke, and B, you can give it back, and we appreciate everything that you've withstood for us for months.
Yeah,
honestly, like you're the shit, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, guys. And if you bust my chops too much, I'm coming after you.
Oh, I know, and
we'll deserve it.
Yeah. But we appreciate everything from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
As one veteran, another thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you for your service, brother. And hey, that's first, man.
Yep, definitely
first, brother. You got it. You guys have a great night, man, and thanks for having me. And I'll keep my eyes on you guys just in case you get out of hand.
Appreciate that, Bryan. This has been an honor. Seriously, thank you so much.
All right, guys. You have a great night.
You too. Take it easy.
All right, brother.
All right, bye.